But joining us right now on the show, as promised, the word I used to start the hour was legendary, because he is legendary. The legendary Ken Rosenthal joins us now on the show to talk Major League Baseball. We're past Memorial Day, and now I feel like this is when we kick into overdrive with the Major League Baseball season. Ken, star Major League Baseball writer for our friends at The Athletic. You, of course, watch him, the Major League Baseball on Fox, and Foul Territory as well, which is sponsored by our show sponsor, BetMGM, on Twitter at Ken_Rosenthal. My friend, what's going on? Welcome back to the show.
Well, Nick, thanks. In my own home, I don't believe my wife considers me legendary. I don't believe my children consider me legendary, but it's nice to hear someone does, so I appreciate it, man.
What's funny about that is it's so true, because you could think, like, as married, but I'm married with a small child. You could come up with the greatest show ever, and people can tell you how great you are. And if you don't take the garbage out or something, you are the lowest form of scum, Ken, on the entire planet, right? It's unbelievable how this works.
And Nick, that's a good thing because it keeps you humble, man.
Right? I actually really agree with you on that. I didn't used to agree with that, but as time has gone on, I think that's totally right. All right, let's talk some baseball here. And I want to start big picture here, Ken, and we are a betting show, and this doesn't have to be like your best bets, but I think it's an interesting prism to view things through, right? Aaron Judge is a massive favorite to win American League Most Valuable Player again. He's having a legendary season right now, to use that word again. I think when he goes home, he's probably still looked at as a legend, is my guess. And Shohei Ohtani is not as big a favorite, but is still a minus price. Very likely, the betting market says, to win National League Most Valuable Player. Do you see it that way, where pending health, it's as easy as just Judge again in the AL, Ohtani again in the National League at this point in time right now?
Definitely Judge. It's his to lose, and it's hard to imagine him losing it. He's going to have to go really cold, and someone else is going to have to get really hot. He's having another historic season. It's amazing what he's doing. And Ohtani, you could really say he's doing the same. The only difference to me with Ohtani is that the National League is so strong, it's conceivable, repeat, conceivable, another player emerges from some other team that gets hot down the stretch. But even then, Ohtani already has 20 homers. He's got 11 steals. He's being Ohtani again. And, oh, yeah, he's also going to pitch at some point, assuming good health. So it's difficult to imagine him losing as well.
It's pretty amazing what Ohtani has done, and certainly what Aaron Judge has done, Ken, to this point in the regular season. I think if people have been locked into the NBA or the National Hockey League or the NFL draft and OTAs, etc., and now it's okay, Memorial Day's passed, let me check out the old MLB standings. They may be really shocked to see, Ken, the Detroit Tigers and the gaudy one-loss record racked up by Detroit, 37-20, and as it stands right now, by literally 1 percentage point, the best record in baseball over the Philadelphia Phillies. And the betting market does think the Tigers are for real. The second best odds to win the American League behind the Yankees, and the fifth best odds to win the World Series. The betting market, Ken, thinks the Detroit Tigers are for real in terms of maybe getting to and winning a World Series. Does Ken Rosenthal think the Detroit Tigers are for real?
I do, and there's no reason to believe they aren't. The difference with them this year is their offense. It's a better offense than last year for sure. It's, I think, a top 10 offense right now. And is it great? Is it Dodgers level, Yankees level, Phillies level when those teams are at their best? No. But what they do so well is use interchangeable parts to get matchup advantages. And A.J. Hinch, their manager, is brilliant at it. He's also brilliant at it on the pitching side. And their pitching was already strong. We saw that last year. Now, their rotation down the stretch was really Skubal and chaos, as you remember. But now it's Skubal, it's Flaherty, it's Jackson Jobe, it's Reese Olson, and they've got some other pitchers injured, but they're in a really strong position. So I do expect them to be a factor the entire season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's really it's become the surprise story of Major League Baseball, this Tigers team. It's really, really fun. And Tarek Skubal, every time he's on the mound, the emotion, absolutely love it. You have to be fired up about that if you're a baseball fan. How about in the National League, though, especially in the NL East, where it feels like we have two teams, maybe a third one, too, with Ronald Acuna Jr. back with the Atlanta Braves, but definitely the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets. Feels like that's going to be the race that everyone's kind of keeping their eyes on as we head into the summer months. Soto hasn't quite gotten going yet for the Mets. I'm assuming he will at some point, traditionally being a second-half player. How do you see that race playing out, Phillies and the Mets, and maybe the Braves kind of being that third horse in the picture?
That one, Femi, still has to evolve. And you're right. With Acuna back and Strider back, the Braves are a different team. They haven't shown that yet, but that's because in Strider's case, he's still rounding into form, and Acuna is one player. And they have had different issues crop up over the course of the season. They've got a new shortstop, Nick Allen, who replaced Arcia. They've got Eli White, who's emerged. Remember, Profar is under suspension until late June. Different little things here and there, good and bad, have happened for the Atlanta Braves. Their catching has been terrific. The offensive production, they're getting there. So I do see them as a factor in the race. The Phillies are probably the strongest club because they have the strongest rotation. The Mets rotation has been really good, a surprise in its own right. The Mets offense is really good. And I just see that being a three-team race ultimately. The Braves aren't quite there, and maybe they never get there, but the other two teams are legitimate. And while we're at it, we might as well talk about the National League West too, because that is going to be a crazy race. Maybe 4 teams involved, though the Diamondbacks are playing rather poorly right now.
Yeah, the Giants are also another surprise team this Major League Baseball season. This is You Better You Bet Nick, Kostos, Femi, Abebefe, hanging out with Ken Rosenthal, Foul Territory, MLB on Fox, senior writer for The Athletic, talking all things Major League Baseball. The American League West, you mentioned the NL West, the AL West. I'm a Mariners fan. I root for the Seattle Mariners. It hasn't been great over the last 25 plus years. My childhood was fantastic with Griffey, Edgar, and Randy Johnson, A-Rod, and all those guys. But since then, not so much. They're currently in first place. Astros breathing down their neck. The Rangers, who won the World Series a couple years ago, they're always lurking around the corner. If they can stay healthy, how do you see that race unfolding?
It's funny. I thought again, like I thought last year, this was the year the Astros just don't have it. And they've certainly taken a number of hits to their starting rotation. Blanco's going to require season-ending elbow surgery. Wisniewski's having season-ending elbow surgery. And they've also been without Spencer Arrighetti. So they're thin there. There's no question. Their lineup is all right-handed right now without Yordan Alvarez for the most part. So you look at them and you say, they're not that good this year. And here they are winning games as always, doing the Astros thing. So I never ruled them out. I do like the Mariners, though. I especially like that they've accomplished what they have so far, essentially without their top 3 starters. Kirby is back now, but Gilbert and Bryce Miller are still down. And pitching has been their strength. We all know that. Their rotation in particular. But their offense this year has gotten better with new hitting coach Kevin Seitzer, Edgar Martinez, of course, being there as well. I still don't love their offense. I don't know that I trust their offense entirely, but it's a more complete group. And you know what? They're going to do some things I would expect at the deadline to enhance themselves if they're in this same type of commanding position. And from that perspective, it's kind of interesting to be a Mariners fan right now.
You know, Ken, as a Yankee fan, and I love Femi, I've promised to him that I will never bring up 2001, the million regular season wins and then losing. I'll never. I will never bring that up. I'll never bring up what happened in 2001 with the Yankees beating the Mariners. Also, 1995 broke my heart with Ken Griffey. That stupid smile after the slide into home to beat the Yankees in the ALDS in 1995. Ken, I want to follow with something you said about the National League West. I thought that was so interesting because the betting market right now thinks that the Dodgers are just going to win this division. They are a huge favorite, the Dodgers are, to win the NL West. But then you look at the standings, and I think we can acknowledge the Dodgers are the best team, at least have the best roster, the reigning champs. Padres a game and a half out. Giants only 3 out. The Diamondbacks are way better. Oh, forget about the Rockies. We get to them in a second. The Diamondbacks, we feel like, are way better than their record would indicate. Still only 6.5 games out. It's still May. Ken, would you want to make the case for any team outside of the Dodgers to potentially win the NL West? Because if people wanted to bet that, man, you get a great price betting against the LA Dodgers in that division.
It's difficult, and it's difficult because the Dodgers should get better as the season goes on. Why do I say that? Well, Kershaw came back and pitched well today. This was, I believe, his second start. You've got Ohtani waiting in the wings. You've got Blake Snell and Tyler Glass now coming off injuries. They seemingly should stabilize. They've got an entire bullpen on the injured list as well, guys in various states of rehabilitation. So I still expect that they're going to be the best team, and by quite a bit. And with all of the other teams, I have questions. The Giants, their offense. The Padres, their depth. The Diamondbacks, just the way that they're playing in general. So if I had to bet, and I don't bet, obviously, in my job, but the Dodgers still seem to me to be the prohibitive favorite.
And the betting market agrees. The Dodgers almost a minus 600 favorite to win the NL West. Just on the Rockies, we don't have to talk about just how bad they are. It's on pace to be the worst team in the last 120 years in Major League Baseball. I think as bettors, sometimes in baseball, Ken, we can like bad teams because in baseball, the worst teams still win 60 plus games a year. The best teams can lose 60 plus games a year. Except in this instance, maybe the worst team loses 130 games or something. Is there a way that the Rockies, they're not going to get even to average, right? Maybe not even to below average. But can they ascend to a level, Ken, where they're not the worst team of all time? And maybe we can look at them and say, this might be a team that I might be interested in backing on sometimes, whereas now it's absolutely not with your money.
They can get to that level, but it's going to take some of their core guys playing better for starters. Ezekiel Tovar is back now. Doyle has done some things. He's seemingly in his head on the upswing. And their pitching staff, they've got to get Dollander back, and Marquez is pitching better. I'm reaching for straws here, but I'm reaching. So I can see them playing better, if only because they can't play worse. And that is not something inconsequential. At some point, there's regression to the mean, even for the Colorado Rockies. We just don't know what that mean is. So put it this way, they're not going to be a good team at any point soon. Can they be a more competitive team? That's a reasonable expectation.
Ken, the Chicago Cubs, first place in the NL Central, 34-21, playing amazing baseball thus far this season. I asked you this question about the Detroit Tigers. I'll phrase it exactly the same way about the Cubs. Does Ken Rosenthal think the Chicago Cubs are for real?
Yes, but with a caveat. I'm worried about their starting pitching and where it's going to go. Justin Steele, of course, is down. They haven't gotten Assad back. They've had various different issues throughout the course of the season. Imanaga is down right now as well. So, like a lot of clubs, they have concerns about their pitching depth. And the intriguing part about them is where their offense is and how Kyle Tucker, not single-handedly, but has really transformed them, as has Pete Crow-Armstrong. So I expect them to still score runs regardless of what else happens, but ultimately their pitching is a concern. Now, are they for real? They're absolutely for real, and they play in a weak division. St. Louis has been a huge surprise, but Milwaukee is not playing as well as people expected. Same for Cincinnati. Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, though they had a good series in Arizona this week. So I do expect the Cubs to win the division, but at the same time, they're one more pitching injury away from being in a really problematic state.
Final question, Ken, in about 45 seconds. Give us a team right now that is currently outside of the playoff picture. And I have the standings up in front of me in case you're you just want a little edification. A team outside the playoff picture that you think will work its way into the playoff picture, make the postseason when it's all said and done, is who and why?
The team I'll give you, I believe they might have a wild card spot right now. I don't have the standings in front of me, but Minnesota, a team that started the season horribly, has played much better of late. They're waiting for Buxton to get back from the concussion list, and they're waiting for Wallner as well. He's a big part of their offense, Matt Wallner. If they get those two guys back with the pitching that they have, it's been excellent. I expect that they're going to make a run at the Tigers and maybe be a force in the postseason. Health is always the issue with Minnesota. Their three best players, Buxton, Correa, and Royce Lewis, have a difficult time staying on the field all at once. And on an individual basis, none of them can be trusted to stay healthy. But if they do get reasonable health out of those guys, they've got a lot of good things going on there. And that was a team at the start of the season. They started so poorly. I thought Rocco Baldelli might be the first manager fired. They've completely turned it around.
Ken, awesome. We love having you on the show. We sincerely appreciate it. Everybody, and I'm sure they do already, because Ken's great. The Athletic, Major League Baseball on Fox, Foul Territory. Follow him on Twitter at Ken_Rosenthal. My friend, we appreciate the time. Stay well. We hope to catch up with you again later this baseball season.
Thank you, Nick.